7 years ago, her husband and daughter vanished on a cruise. What she saw in that alley changed everything. What began as a dream. Family cruise ended in every mother's worst nightmare. 7 years ago, during a sunny stop in the Caribbean, Catherine Wilson's daughter and husband disappeared without a trace. No signs, no answers, just gone. Authorities searched, leads came and went. But as the years passed, so did hope. Until one random afternoon, in a completely different part of the world, Catherine turned down an alleyway, and what she saw there would unravel everything she thought she knew. Before we dive into this unbelievable story, let us know in the comments where you're watching from, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button for more real-life mysteries. The morning light crept into Catherine's modest living room as Detective Mark Holloway sat across from her. His voice, heavy with regret, broke the silence. "Mrs. Wilson, it's time we talk about closing the case." At 46, Catherine looked older than her years. The pain of 7 birthdays, 7 Christmases, 7 empty chairs at the table had etched itself into every wrinkle on her face. "You can't," she said firmly. "Clara is out there. She's 25 now. What if she sees one of the posters?" Detective Holloway understood, but the trail had run cold. Too many false leads, too many sleepless nights chasing shadows. Still, Catherine refused to let go. She opened the old folder of reports and statements she had memorized by heart and began again, just in case something had been missed. "We were on a cruise through the Dutch Caribbean," she said quietly. "It was our first big vacation as a family. We stopped in Curacao. I remember the colors, the cobblestone streets, the cafe." Her daughter, 18-year-old Clara, asked to take a short walk alone. It felt safe. Tourists were everywhere. The sun was shining. 15 minutes later, her husband Daniel went to find Clara. Catherine stayed behind to pay the check. He never came back either. She searched the streets, the beach, the market. Nothing. Neither of them answered their phones. Security swept the ship. No signs. It was as if they had vanished into the air. She was forced to board the ship without them, completely alone. International waters, foreign police, bureaucratic chaos. For years, Catherine pushed forward, posting flyers, calling embassies, chasing any rumor that even remotely sounded like them. And then, that alley. 7 years later, a different country, a random turn down a narrow street, and in the window of a run-down building lit by red lanterns, she saw a face. The face of a young woman, older now, tired, but unmistakable. Clara. Interpol gave up, but this mother refused to stop searching. The document looked official, stamped and crisp as Detective Holloway pulled it from his briefcase. "We've stayed in contact with Dutch authorities and Interpol," he said. "Your husband and daughter are still listed as high priority." Catherine's eyes lit up with cautious hope. "So, they're still searching?" The detective hesitated. "That's why I'm here." He lowered his voice. "Interpol in Amsterdam has downgraded the case. After 7 years, with no new leads, their focus has shifted." It was like a punch to the gut. But Catherine didn't flinch for long. "Then I'll pay. More. I'll fund the search myself. Please don't let this case go cold." But it wasn't about money. Not anymore. "We followed every lead," Holloway said gently, "and I promise, if anything new comes up, we'll act immediately. My team in Orlando will keep the case open another year. After that..." He didn't finish. He didn't have to. As he gathered his files and walked to the door, he turned one last time. "Stay strong, Mrs. Wilson. We haven't given up. Not completely." And then he was gone. The door clicked shut, leaving Catherine alone with a silence that screamed. The clock on the mantel ticked steadily, cruelly, reminding her just how long it had been. Next to her printer was a thick stack of missing person posters. Clara and Daniel, smiling, frozen in time. She slid the fresh prints into a manila envelope. The process had become ritual. Posters, flyers, cold calls to strangers. She paused at the hallway mirror. The reflection looking back was not the same woman who had boarded a cruise ship 7 years ago. Her hair was streaked with gray, her face marked by time and heartbreak. But there was still a spark of resolve in her eyes. Outside, the Florida morning was already humid as she climbed into her car. The worn leather seats offered no comfort. Her gaze drifted to a photo tucked into the visor. Her, Daniel, and Clara on the cruise deck, arms wrapped in joy, faces lit with anticipation. And that's when it hit her. A tidal wave of pain surged through her. Her hands clenched the steering wheel. Her body trembled, and then she broke. A raw, guttural scream burst from her lips. She pounded the steering wheel with both fists, tears streaming down her face. "Why?" she cried out, voice cracking with every syllable. "Why did we take that cruise? Why didn't we just stay home?" All the what-ifs, all the guilt, all the grief came crashing down at once. That cruise, once a symbol of family adventure, now represented everything she had lost. For minutes she sat there, sobbing uncontrollably, letting it all out. And then, slowly, she began to breathe again. She wiped her tears, steadied her hands, and whispered to herself, "Get it together, Catherine. They need you to be strong." She picked up her phone and typed in an address. Tampa. It was an hour away, but she had flyers to repost. Maybe someone there had seen something. Maybe someone would recognize a face. She wasn't giving up. Not now. Not ever. A stranger in Amsterdam claims she saw her missing daughter. What happens next will leave you speechless. Just as Catherine began to pull herself together, the car's Bluetooth lit up with an unexpected call. The ringtone shattered the silence, jolting her out of the fog of grief. She hesitated, then answered, her voice still raw from crying. "Hello? Is this Catherine Wilson?" The voice on the other end was a woman with a distinct European accent. "Yes. Who's this?" "Mrs. Wilson, I believe I saw your daughter." "I think I saw Clara. Here, in Amsterdam." Catherine's breath caught. A storm of hope and doubt clashed in her chest. She'd been through this before, too many times. Scammers, mistaken identities, cruel hoaxes. So she almost ended the call. "Look," she said wearily, "if this is some kind of joke, please," the woman interrupted, her voice earnest. "I'm not after anything. I just need a minute of your time. That's all." Something in her tone, calm, steady, human, made Catherine pause. "All right, I'm listening, but this had better be real." The woman introduced herself as Sophia Van Dyke. She explained that she had lived in Orlando for 6 years and during that time had seen Clara's missing posters over and over again. The face had burned into her memory. "I just returned to Amsterdam a few months ago," she said, "and I swear, Mrs. Wilson, last night at a bar near the canal I saw her, the same blue eyes, the golden hair, the smile. It was her." Catherine's voice trembled. "Where? Was she alone?" "No," Sophia replied. "She was with a man, young, muscular, definitely not the man from your posters." "Daniel. Where was Daniel?" Catherine's mind raced. Could it really be Clara? Had she been in Amsterdam this whole time? But where was her husband? What had happened over those missing years? Still skeptical but unable to ignore the small fire of hope within her, Catherine spoke firmly. "If you're serious, I need you to go to the police. File a report with the Amsterdam authorities. Interpol and the Orlando department are linked. They'll see it immediately." "Absolutely," Sophia replied without hesitation. "I'll go now." "I meant every word." As the call neared its end, Catherine asked one final question, her voice barely audible. "Are you sure it was her? Because if you are, I'll get on the next flight." A moment of silence passed before Sophia answered warmly and honestly, "I'm about 90% sure. If you come, I'll meet you and help however I can." Catherine ended the call with trembling fingers and a heart pounding so loud it echoed in her chest. She stared ahead, the Florida sun reflecting off the windshield, her thoughts racing faster than her heartbeat. Part of her wanted to laugh. Fly to Amsterdam based on a stranger's phone call? Again? She remembered Hawaii, the lies, the theft, the disappointment. But this felt different. Sophia's voice carried something the others hadn't: sincerity. And she knew if she didn't act, no one else would. Interpol had moved on. Orlando's department was winding down, but she wasn't done, not even close. Catherine pulled into the nearest lot, grabbed her phone, and with trembling hands dialed Detective Holloway. As the line rang, her entire future hinged on the next few moments. She called the police with a new lead. What they told her changed everything. "Detective Holloway, it's Catherine Wilson. I'm heading to the station. I have a new lead. I'll be there in 10. I'm on my way." "See you soon." The tires of Catherine's car crunched against the sun-baked asphalt as she pulled into the Orlando Police Department parking lot. She sat in silence for a moment, gathering herself. The weight of 7 years of unanswered questions pressed heavily on her chest. But today, hope had returned. She stepped into the station. The blast of cold air hit her like a wave, mingling with the familiar scent of old coffee and paper. Officer Rodriguez at the front desk gave her a familiar look, part kindness, part sympathy. "Detective Holloway is expecting you. Go on up." Her footsteps echoed down the corridor as she approached his office. She paused at the door, took a deep breath, and knocked. "Come in." Inside, Holloway looked up from behind a desk buried in case files. "Mrs. Wilson?" he said, gesturing to a chair. "You mentioned a new lead?" Catherine sat down, hands clenched tightly in her lap to hide the tremble. She told him everything: Sophia's call, the details she remembered, the location, the man Clara was with. As she spoke, Holloway's skeptical expression shifted into something more focused, maybe even hopeful. "We already received a report from Interpol's Orlando bureau," he said. "Sophia Van Dijk filed it with the Amsterdam police." "Her statement matched what you just told me." Catherine's heart skipped. "So, it's real? She really reported it?" He nodded and turned his screen so she could see. "A woman named Sophia gave a detailed description of Clara. Blue eyes, blonde hair, a familiar smile. It checks out. The FBI has been notified as well." Relief, anxiety, disbelief, they all surged through her at once. "So, what happens now? Are they looking for her?" Holloway leaned back, his tone serious. "Yes, as we speak, Amsterdam police are canvassing the area where Clara was allegedly seen. But Catherine, please understand, this isn't easy. International cases move slowly. Time zones, bureaucracy, multiple agencies, it all takes time." But time was the one thing Catherine didn't want to waste. "If she's there, I want to be there too. I'll fly to Amsterdam. I can help search, talk to people. Sophia said she'd meet me." Holloway's face tightened. "I understand, but remember what happened in Hawaii. I can't recommend flying out based on one sighting. We've had too many false alarms. It's dangerous, and honestly, the chances are slim." Catherine felt her frustration boil. "I know the risks, Detective, but my gut is screaming this is different. I have to do something." He sighed, rubbing his temples. "Just be careful. Don't take any drastic steps. If you need to stay busy, hang up posters, stay local. But don't rush into something that could hurt you again." Catherine stood. Her decision was made. "Thank you, Detective, truly, for everything." As she turned to leave, Holloway called out, "Catherine, please, be safe." She gave a silent nod and walked out into the blazing Florida heat, but in her mind she was already gone, already on a plane. Back in her car, she pulled out her phone, ignoring the doubt screaming in the back of her mind. A flight to Amsterdam left in just under 3 hours. With one deep breath, she booked it. Still sitting in the parking lot, hands trembling with adrenaline, she dialed Sophia's number. It rang once, twice, and then that now familiar voice answered. "Hello?" "Sophia, it's Catherine." She flew across the world for one lead. What happened that night in Amsterdam will haunt you. "Wilson speaking," Catherine said, her voice calm despite the storm inside her. "I've booked a flight. I land in Amsterdam around 8 p.m. your time. Could we meet?" There was a pause, long enough to stir doubt. Then Sophia's voice returned, warm and resolute. "Of course, Catherine. I'll meet you at the airport. This is too important." Relief crashed over her like a wave. "Thank you, Sophia. You have no idea how much this means to me." As the call ended, Catherine sat still for a moment, absorbing the gravity of what she was about to do. To outsiders, it might have sounded insane, flying across the Atlantic to meet a stranger who said she saw her daughter in a bar. But to Catherine, it was just another chapter in a story that had stopped making sense years ago. She had nothing left to lose, and maybe, just maybe, something to find. She rushed home, packed a small suitcase in minutes, and raced to the airport. Her mind spiraled with questions. Was it really Clara? Was Daniel with her? What happened all those years ago? She pushed the thoughts down, one step at a time. The 9-hour flight blurred into a fog of restless dreams and adrenaline. Catherine barely ate, barely slept. Her thoughts were a carousel of hope and fear, spinning without pause. At 8:04 p.m. local time, her plane touched down at Schiphol Airport. The sky was already dark, the terminal glowing with fluorescent light and foreign voices echoing through the halls. She moved like a machine, through customs, to baggage claim, to a kiosk for a prepaid SIM card. She tried calling Sophia. No answer. Tried again, still nothing. Minutes dragged. Doubt crept in. Not again, she thought. Please don't let this be another lie. Then, Catherine. Catherine Wilson. She spun around to see a woman waving and walking quickly toward her. Kind eyes, slightly older, confident stride. "I'm Sophia Van Dijk," she said with a warm smile, extending her hand. Catherine didn't hesitate. She grabbed it with both hands. "Thank you for coming," she choked out, tears threatening to rise. "I was starting to think—" "I know," Sophia interrupted gently. "Traffic was brutal, but I'm here now. Let's figure this out, together." As they walked to Sophia's car in the parking garage, the two women talked like old friends pulled together by tragedy. Catherine learned that Sophia was a mother too, had lived in Orlando for 7 years, working on women and children's advocacy, shuttling back and forth to visit her husband and son in Amsterdam. She knew separation, but not like this. "I can't imagine losing my family for 7 years, Sophia said, glancing over with empathy. "You're stronger than I'd ever be." By the time they reached the city, Amsterdam glowed with late-night life. Canals shimmering, bikes zipping by, people laughing under warm streetlights. "I've booked you a small hotel room just around the corner from the bar," Sophia said. "It's nothing fancy, but it's clean and close." Catherine hesitated. "I know it's late, but I'm not tired. Could we go now?" "To the bar?" Sophia didn't miss a beat. "Absolutely. I want to help." They left Catherine's bag in the car and walked through the bustling streets. The energy was electric. Music pulsed from open doors, people spilled onto sidewalks with drinks and cigarettes, and the air buzzed with a kind of nighttime rhythm Catherine had forgotten existed. Then they stopped. Sophia pointed toward a dimly lit bar across the street. "That's where I saw her, inside, sitting near the back." Catherine's chest tightened. Her legs felt like stone, but she moved anyway. The bar was small, warm, alive with quiet conversation and soft jazz. She scanned every face, one by one. Her eyes darted between booths, corners, the bar stools, looking for one face, looking for her. She finally found her missing daughter. But what happened next will break your heart. Inside the dim bar, Sophia quietly led Catherine toward the back. The air smelled of spilled beer and faded conversations. Catherine reached into her bag, pulling out a worn photograph, one she had carried for years. Clara's face smiled up from the image, forever 18. She approached the bartender, her voice trembling. "Excuse me, have you seen this woman recently?" The bartender studied the photo, his brows knitting. Then he shook his head. "I'm sorry, but you're not the first to ask. Police have been by all day. No one here recognizes her." Catherine felt her heart sink. Another door closed. But she wasn't ready to give up. As they stepped back outside, the faint neon glow of Amsterdam's red light district flickered in the distance. Sophia followed her gaze and gently touched her arm. "If we're going to search that area, we should go to the police first," she said quietly. "I'll help confirm your identity as Clara's mother. That'll give us credibility. But walking into the red light district asking questions, that can be dangerous. We need to be smart." Catherine nodded. She was tired, emotionally raw, but not reckless. They dropped her luggage at the apartment, checked in, and then set off toward the police station, just a 10-minute walk away. "There's a shortcut," Sophia suggested, leading them through the district's narrow, buzzing alleys. Catherine hesitated. She hadn't planned to walk this route, but urgency overruled discomfort, and she followed. As they wove through the maze of pulsing lights, foreign voices, and flashing glass, the red light district pulsed like another world. Clubs thumped with electronic beats. Windows glowed red and pink. Behind them, women waited, posing in dimly lit rooms. Catherine kept close, her mind spinning with questions. Is Clara really here? Is she okay? Where's Daniel? She didn't realize she'd drifted ahead until Sophia's voice rang out behind her. "Catherine, wait, come back." Startled, she turned and walked back toward Sophia, who was now standing frozen, staring at a window across the alley. "What's wrong?" Catherine asked, following her gaze. Inside the window, dimly lit by rose-colored light, sat a young woman on a small bed. She wore a plain cropped tank top and ripped shorts. Her blonde hair framed a familiar face. Her posture, quiet, weary, distant, struck something deep in Catherine's chest. "It's her," Sophia said softly, almost in disbelief. "That's the girl I saw. That's Clara." Catherine stepped closer, heart racing, breath caught in her throat. It was Clara. Or at least it had to be. "CLA?" she whispered, then louder. "CLA?" as she began knocking on the glass, frantic and shaking. The woman inside looked up, startled. Their eyes met. Catherine knocked harder. "Please, darling, it's me. It's Mom. Clara, can you hear me?" But the young woman's face was blank, confused. She looked around as if unsure what was happening. The moment stretched on. Then, without a word, she stood up and disappeared into the back of the room. "No, wait!" Catherine shouted, pounding on the window again. "Please!" Suddenly, the front door of the building creaked open. A towering man stepped out, muscles broad beneath his dark suit, a security guard, expressionless, imposing. "You need to leave," he said firmly. "This is not a place for shouting. Keep moving." Catherine's voice cracked as she pleaded, tears welling. "She's my daughter. She's been missing for 7 years. I know that's her." The guard didn't blink. "You need to step back, now, or I'll call the police." His hand moved toward the radio on his belt. The conversation was over, but for Catherine, the fight had just begun. She refused to leave, and then everything changed. Catherine stood her ground, fists clenched, refusing to back away from what she believed was her only chance to reach Clara. Before things escalated, Sophia quickly pulled out her phone and called the Amsterdam police, explaining the situation in rapid Dutch. Catherine couldn't understand everything, but she caught one crucial detail. The velvet room. Her heart pounded. Could this really be it? "The police are on their way," Sophia said calmly, hanging up. "They'll be here any minute." Just then, a man stormed out of the brothel, clearly in charge. He looked directly at them. "You're scaring my customer and my staff. Leave." Sophia didn't flinch. "We're looking for the woman inside. We believe she's a missing person." Catherine added, her voice trembling. "Her name is Clara. She's my daughter. Please." The man sneered. "Her name's not Clara, it's Tracy. You've got the wrong girl." But Catherine couldn't shake the feeling. Just as another argument was about to erupt, they heard it. Sirens. The man's face changed instantly. Panic. He turned and ran back inside, dragging the girl with him. "No, stop!" Catherine shouted, but it was too late. Seconds later, police stormed the building. "Hands in the air!" one of them yelled. The man froze, then tried to flee out the back, but an officer tackled and cuffed him in moments. He spit, furious. "She's not missing. Her name is Tracy." The officer stayed calm. "We'll need ID from both of you, and we'll speak to her ourselves." Inside, the young woman, Tracy, looked confused, distant, drugged, her eyes glassy, her words slurred. Is she on something? Catherine whispered. Sophia nodded. Yes. A police officer confirmed it. We need to take her to a medical clinic first. She's in no condition to answer questions. Catherine and Sophia followed in one car, while Tracy was taken in another. At the clinic, the staff moved quickly to stabilize her. Minutes crawled by. Then an officer walked in holding a small ID card. Her real name is Erin Jansen, but... He paused. Records show she once went by Clara Wilson. She legally changed her name. That's her. The world stopped. Catherine broke down in tears. That's my daughter. Moments later, Clara, still groggy, was led out of the room. Am I in trouble? She asked. Where's Victor? The officer replied. He's been arrested, and he's part of a trafficking ring. You're safe now. Then Clara's eyes locked on Catherine. Mom, is that you? Catherine could barely speak. Yes, baby. It's me. Clara rushed into her arms. They held each other for the first time in 7 years. The pain, the grief, the waiting, all flooding out in tears and trembling joy. I never gave up on you, Catherine whispered. At the station, Clara told her story. She had been kidnapped in Curaçao, taken with her father, who was later killed trying to protect her. She had been trafficked, drugged, moved around, and stripped of her identity. The past was a blur of pain, but now she was free. Officers promised justice. A DNA test would confirm her identity. Clara might help them find others. The investigation was just beginning, but the worst was over. As they left the station, the night felt different, lighter. The road ahead would be hard, trauma, recovery, healing. But Catherine had her daughter back, and that meant everything.